Good day, students. I am teacher Marichu and I will be teaching grade 8 science. So let's start with our vocabulary.
Let's read vocabulary words first before we proceed to our lesson. Again, vocabulary. As I read the words, please repeat after me. System, system. Enzyme, enzyme. Esophagus, esophagus. Stomach, stomach. Peristalsis, peristalsis. Small intestine, small intestine. Pancreas, pancreas. Villi, villi. Absorption, absorption. Large intestine, large intestine. Humans eat food a day. Have you ever wondered where does the food go once it enters your body? And every last scrap of a food you eat makes its way through the digestive system. Again, let's read digestive system. Let's look at this picture. The digestion of food in humans takes place in the alimentary canal, which is a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. The different parts of the alimentary canal are buccal cavity. So it starts here in your mouth. Esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. Two glands, namely liver and pancreas, also help in digestion. So let's explore digestive system of humans. So let's know what is the function of digestive system. So we have here three main functions of digestive system. Again, let's read three main functions of digestive system. The first one is breaks down food. Again, breaks down food. So the food material is broken down into simpler substances. The next one is the molecules are absorbed into the blood. Again, let's read. The molecules are absorbed into the blood. As the food material is broken down into simpler substances, they can be absorbed by blood and give energy to different parts of our body. And finally, waste eliminated from the body. Again, let's read. Waste eliminated from the body. So here is the illustration for digestive system. It is about 9 meters long from beginning to end. So it is to fulfill a singular task transforming the raw materials of your food into the nutrients and energy that keeps you alive. There are two kinds of digestion. The first one is mechanical. Again, mechanical. And the second one is chemical. Again, chemical. In mechanical digestion, foods are physically broken down into smaller pieces. Again, let's read. Foods broken down into smaller pieces. As the food enters the mouth, it starts to be mechanically broken down by chewing. On the other hand, chemical digestion, it breaks foods into smaller molecules. Again, let's read. Break foods into smaller molecules. Chemicals produced by the body breaks foods into smaller molecules. Digestion starts in mouth. Again, mouth. As the food enters the mouth and starts to be mechanically broken down by chewing, as the teeth are used to bring up the food, at the same time, the salivary glands release salivary amylase. Again, what does salivary glands release? Salivary amylase. It is an enzyme that breaks down starches chemically. Again, let's read. An enzyme that breaks down starches chemically. The saliva, which contains a lot of enzymes, mixes with those food particles and helps break down those food particles even more. So when you say enzymes, these are proteins that speed up chemical reactions in your body. Again, let's read. Are proteins that speed up chemical reactions in your body. Once you have completely chewed your food, the tongue helps to push the food particles down your throat. So the food will travel through a long pipe called esophagus. Again, esophagus. Once the food inside your mouth, chewing combines with the saliva to turn food into a moist ball called the bolus. Again, bolus. It is the food that mashed into a ball by the tongue. Again, let's read. The food that mashed into a ball by the tongue. Enzymes present in the saliva breaks down any starch. Then, your food finds itself at the long tube called esophagus. The nerves in the surrounding sense the bolus presence and trigger peristalsis that propels the food into the stomach. Again, peristalsis. When you say peristalsis, it is the esophagus contracts in a wave-like motion. Again, let's read. The esophagus contracts in a wave-like motion. So the food remains in the esophagus for only about 10 seconds. Peristalsis also occurs in the stomach and farther down the digestive system. These waves keep food moving in one direction. When the food leaves the esophagus, it enters the stomach. Again, stomach. Most mechanical digestion and some chemical digestion occur in the stomach. So the food is churned in the stomach to further break it down. The stomach releases hydrochloric acid, which activates pepsin. Again, let's read. The stomach releases hydrochloric acid, which activates pepsin. The stomach releases a lot of acids and enzymes, which further breaks down the food particles so that these particles can be absorbed by our body. Very little absorption takes place in the stomach. An enzyme called pepsin present in the stomach helps break down the proteins. There are mucus-secreting cells that line the stomach. Again, let's read. Mucus-secreting cells that line the stomach, in which to protect it from the acid. Food remains in the stomach until all solid material has been broken down into liquid form.
Let's watch this video. The bolus breaking it into chunks. Hormones secreted by cells in the lining trigger the releases of acids and enzyme-rich juices from the stomach wall that start dissolve the food and break down its proteins. These hormones also alert the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to produce digestive juices and transfer bile, a yellowish-green liquid that digests fat. After a few hours inside the stomach, the once shapely bolus is now a fruity liquid called chyme, and it's ready to move into the small intestine. The food is then released into the next part of the digestive system, which is the small intestine. The small intestine is the part of the digestive system where most chemical digestion takes place. As the food reaches the small intestine, the liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which secretes it into the first portion of the small intestine called duodenum. Here, it dissolves the fats so they can be easily digested by the pancreatic and intestinal juices. These enzyme-rich juices break the fat molecules down into fatty acids and glycerol for easier absorption into the body. It also carries out proteins into amino acids and carbohydrates into glucose. This happens in the lower regions, jejunum and ileum, which are coated in millions of tiny projections called villi, which help increase the surface area many times for absorption. The digested products are absorbed across the wall of the small intestine, while the primary function of the small intestine is absorption. Again, let's read. The primary function of the small intestine is absorption. So, all final digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and especially fats takes place in the small intestine. Most nutrients have been absorbed by the time the material reaches the end of the small intestine. The remaining material moves into the large intestine. The digestive system is primarily a holding tank of waste material. Again, let's read. The large intestine is a holding tank of waste material. So the particles that are not absorbed by the small intestine reach the large intestine. Absorption of minerals such as calcium and magnesium, as well as B vitamins and some amino acids takes place here. Now, the large intestine absorbs water and other particles. So the waste in the large intestine is compressed into solid form before it enters the rectum and then leaves the body through the anus. Here is the journey of the food particles through the large intestine. This surface area maximizes molecule absorption and transference into the bloodstream. The blood takes them to the final journey to feed the body's organs and tissues. But it's not over yet. Leftover fiber, water, and dead cells make it into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body drains out the most of the remaining fluid. What's left is a soft mass called stool. The colon squeezes this byproduct into the rectum, where nerves sense it expanding and tell the body when it's time to expel the waste. Before we proceed to our activity, let's have a review first. Our topic is digestive system. Again, digestive system. So what are the organs that is part of the digestion process? We have mouth. Very good. As the food enters the mouth and starts to be mechanically broken down by chewing. So once you have completely chewed your food, the tongue helps to push the food particles down your throat. So the food will travel through a long tube called esophagus. When the food leaves the esophagus, it enters the stomach. So food remains in the stomach until all solid materials has been broken down into a liquid form, and the food is then released into the next part of the digestive system, which is the small intestine. It is where the most chemical digestion takes place. Most nutrients have been absorbed by the time the material reaches the end of the small intestine. So the remaining material moves into the large intestine. The large intestine is primarily a holding tank of waste material. The waste in the large intestine is compressed into solid form before it enters the rectum, and then it will leave the body through the anus. So that is the process of digestion. So now, let's answer our activity. I will give you time to answer each question. Are you ready? Okay, so let's start. Number 1. Where does the digestion process start? Again, where does the digestion process start? You look at the picture above. What part of digestive organ is that where digestion process starts? Your answer is mouth. Very good. In mouth, the digestion process starts. Again, let's read. In mouth, the digestion process starts. Number 2. What is the long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach? Again, number 2. What is the long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach? What part of digestive organ is that in the picture? The answer is esophagus. Very good. Esophagus is the long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. Let's read. Esophagus is the long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. Number 3. The blank churns the food to further break it apart physically. Again, let's read. The blank churns the food to further break it apart physically. So you look at the picture. What part of the digestive organ is that where the food is churned? Very good. The answer is stomach. So the stomach churns the food to further break it apart physically. Let's read again. The stomach churns the food to further break it apart physically. Number 4. What part of the digestive system where most of the chemical digestion takes place? Again, what part of the digestive system where most of the chemical digestion takes place? So you look at the picture in number 4 where it is pointed. So what part of the digestive system is that? The answer is small intestine. Very good. Small intestine is part of the digestive system where most chemical digestion takes place. Again, let's read. Small intestine is part of the digestive system where most chemical digestion takes place. Number 5. What part of the digestive system is a holding tank of waste material? Again, what part of the digestive system is a holding tank of waste material? So you look at the picture. The answer is large intestine. Very good. Large intestine is a holding tank of waste material. Let's read. Large intestine is a holding tank of waste material. So that will be the end for our topic. I hope you learned something. So see you again next video. Goodbye and have a nice day.